Good morning and welcome to the market forecast. Today is Wednesday, April the 14th. I always like Wednesdays. It's group coaching day, and we also have Dr. Menaker in this afternoon for market therapy. I've been telling you about it for the better part of the week this week, and I'll be putting the links into the live chat here as soon as we get rolling. My name's John Hoagland. As always, thanks for trusting me with your time. As always, we're hoping for you that you find accurate context, find good risk management, and exercise patience in your trading today. Economic numbers this morning, 7:30, the import-export prices came out, all of them higher than expected. 9:30 this morning, Central Time, of course, the EIA Petroleum status report due out. 11 o'clock, Fed Chairman Powell is due to speak. There's also several other FOMC members speaking throughout the day. 1 p.m. Central, the Fed's Beige Book comes out. Probably not going to be very impactful, but that's always kind of the warning shot that reminds me that the next FOMC meeting is 2 weeks away. As far as other news is concerned, Coinbase, the cryptocurrency exchange, is going public today. We've got equity indices mildly higher this morning. NASDAQ putting up another all-time high in the overnight, but the S&P stopping short of that. We are starting earnings season today. We've got JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs both out beating expectations for earnings and revenue. Crude prices have firmed up a little bit. The IEA raised oil demand projections for the coming months. Price gained over $1, and it seems to be heading towards our weekly kickoff high as we speak, looking like we've left that opening range at the low of the regular trading hour session. We're going to take a look at that very shortly. Again, group coaching, and this afternoon at 3:15, putting the link into the chat now, is market therapy with Dr. Andrew Menaker. Always a pleasure to sit and chat with the good doctor. And then we also have group coaching. That's at 1 o'clock this afternoon. That's just with little old me. I look forward to seeing all of you there if you're so interested. As always, make sure you slam that like button, share questions, comments, always appreciated. Feedback is always appreciated. And of course, heckling is always welcome at will. The VIX this morning down a little bit here at 1649 last I checked. Dollar index also sliding off recent highs down at 91.76, and the 10-year yield continues to kind of slide off its recent highs, currently at 1.63%. Okay, got to say good morning to everybody, always. Ralph, good morning. First in the room. You win the prize again. Felix, good to see you. Ednelson, Will, Bill Phillips, good morning. Murph, good morning. Great day yesterday. Great to hear that. Hopefully more of the same for you today. We are looking forward to all of your success. Theo, good morning, Theo. Stick to the rules. Brian, Joseph, Monkey Gaines, Nick, Vince, Blood Brothers Men, good morning. Clarence, George Adams, good morning. Edward, good morning. Ashton, Mr. Shine's Mystery Channel, hello, good morning. Enjoyed yesterday's group coaching, or last week's maybe group coaching, but we're there again today, Steve. We got a couple of emailed in questions we're going to start with, but of course, all questions I will try and get to in the hour that we have. Good morning, Kevin, Jason, Rob, Mike Magallanes, the chef, is in the room. Angelina, Trading Research, good morning. Shady Trader, good morning. Vicky, Andre Holden, and Savant Playback, good morning, everyone. All right, so we're going to start looking here at the daily in crude, and crude oil already on the move. I gotta feel like I might have missed an opportunity this morning on that opening range trade, but we're going to take a look right now, as always, starting with the daily in crude. Taking a look at the overall situation, starting again in the dailies, scheduled to roll tomorrow. Tomorrow will probably be the day when most of the volume will move from May to the June contract. Probably going to be starting the day, or well, I don't know. We're going to see what it looks like. If there's greater volume in the June contract, I'll switch to June tomorrow if I'm going to be trading. And okay, Steve, I got it. Trading slower market video. Okay, good. Yeah, that was the coach's playbook yesterday. Glad you enjoyed that. So again, unimpressive volume on this kind of breakout move where we closed above this trend line, losing 13,000 in open interest. And a lot of that, of course, can be attributed to the fact that it is in rollover. So it gets a little bit more difficult to kind of distinguish what is real information as far as volume and open interest and what is based in or created by the fact that it is in rollover. So we're getting a pretty good test of weekly kickoff high here, 61.50. New information in the market, as we said, the IEA raising expectations for demand for the next few months here. API last night announced a 3.6 million barrel draw. The EIA today at 9:30 is expecting a draw of 2.9 million barrels, and with expected higher demand, obviously the price moving higher. We're maybe moving into a different market state now. We've been pretty much range bound in a kind of a volatile area of range bound activity, but accepting above this weekly kickoff high might change the current market state from range bound to directional to the upside. We got a lot of space. We got to take out this swing high 62.27 before we're going to be able to really, I think, accelerate. But once we get above that, there's plenty of space up above. If demand does indeed increase, we could see prices at that level and relatively soon. 30-minute chart. Yep, opening range, the low of the regular trading hour session. We were going to be looking at the fact that we were going to be opening with a gap. Here's the opening in the in crude oil. We've got considerable overnight longs. As a matter of fact, the longs have been coming into this market in this direction since Sunday night, really. So the opening range, when we open with a gap, that opening range left at the bottom of the range like that indicates buyer control right off the open. Now we're getting a test of weekly kickoff high. If we can't spend some time and build some volume above that level, I might look for an opportunity to buy weakness later on in the session. I don't want to fight this move to the upside, however, without some sort of structure. And this weekly kickoff high might end up being somewhere near that structure that might have this market turn around. But again, this is a pretty strong upside move. I mean, we're looking at where's our low here, 60.95. We're already at about a 60 tick profit in this trade, and it doesn't look like it's meant to come off anytime soon. So this weekly kickoff level is going to be somewhat pivotal. If it becomes magnetic, be careful, of course. But very interesting that the market left the opening range at the low of the session and drove right to and is working on acceptance above weekly kickoff high. It's going to be an interesting market today, especially as we get closer to the EIA at 9:30. There may be some surprises, perhaps, in that EIA number. So be cautious. Try and be patient. The early opportunity with the opening range at the low of the session has passed. E-mini S&Ps. Equities just continue to eat shorts all the way up. The resiliency in these markets is truly amazing. I have seen these markets continue to do amazing things over the 30 years that I've been watching the S&Ps. The open interest boost yesterday on a new all-time high that remains the high. We did not take that out in the overnight session. Decent volume at least held up. Volume doesn't really come in that much in the E-mini S&Ps on the upside. It always comes in on the downside, but we did add 9,100 in open interest in the estimated open interest this morning. So still acting like the market is bringing in participants to the upside. That's what it's going to take to keep this thing moving, is buying to continuing to come in. So with the volume and the open interest boost, it's still suggesting that this upside auction, which is really strong, is still healthy. I know everybody is asking, where is the top? Where is the top? When is this thing going to kind of turn around? And the only thing I can say is the top is going to come in when we stop asking, when the top is going to come in. When we're all into the upside, when we're all long, that's when we're going to start to see our pullback. Of course, any kind of headline news that's unexpected, anything that can happen, can create that opportunity in a heartbeat. Watch the market. When it does happen, the market is going to be telling us when that is going to happen. So stay patient. The markets, S&Ps, Dow, NASDAQ, they've been eating shorts for decades, and that's just what they do. They get the short time frame traders sure that they've picked the high. The longer time frame buyers just continue to push this thing higher. So it's going to be an interesting few sessions this week. I'm very interested to see how this thing plays out by the end of the week coming into Friday. Here's the 30-minute chart. Now, it's just a very steady value moving higher over time. We've been saying that we've been seeing longer time frame, hints of longer time frame buying continuing in this market. And yesterday, the open interest suggests that that is continuing. Unable to take out the all-time high that occurred yesterday in the overnight session, already kind of back to settlement. I'm going to be watching on the open to see if we reject value from yesterday or if we accept value from yesterday. Acceptance of value from yesterday might mean a move back down towards value low from yesterday. Now, if we open inside of value, that might be indicating a possible acceptance of value from yesterday, in which we may kind of rotate back down to the low of value from yesterday. But it doesn't change the upside structure until we really move this market considerably lower. Not really going to be looking at anything inside of our overnight range here. The overnight range is really kind of indicative of, if we're gonna be able to take out the all-time high in the regular trading hour session, this is going to be an interesting level for an execution. If we are going to be unable to do that and we reaccept inside of value from yesterday, our overnight low will also be an interesting area for an execution. Anything in the middle of our overnight range, I'm really not that interested in, so I'm going to try and stay patient. Watch the opening range. Again, the opening range trade, you never know when that's going to help. And if it's a cheap opportunity, why not give it a try? So again, overnight high and low are both somewhat pivotal for continuation in either direction for me in the S&Ps today. Now looking into the NASDAQ. Okay, volume and open interest continue as in the S&Ps to indicate a healthy auction, adding 14,000 in open interest on the up move yesterday. Good volume yesterday on that move, right to weekly kickoff high, which we are currently in the process of testing as we speak. That 14,000 big fat round number is again pivotal today. Another new high in overnight trade last night. We know that markets tend not to leave that information that high in overnight sessions. The overnight sessions, many participants are not involved, including the longer time frame, and the longer time frame wants to be involved in anything that happens in the overnight. It's always usually going to be retested, especially when it is a new all-time high. So what's that mean for us in the 30-minute chart? Here we are. There's our new all-time high in the overnight session. We probably not going to be opening with a gap. I'll be watching to see if we gap open above yesterday's range. If we can't close that gap, then I'll be looking for continuation for another all-time new high in the regular trading hour session. However, if we can't get there, if we close the gap, I think that's going to be a higher probability of some opportunity for us to get a pullback into yesterday's range and value. So overnight high, critical. Overnight low, again, critical. Anything in the middle here, the only thing I would probably consider doing would be the opening range trade. All right, gold. Lacey is saying good morning, everyone. Lacey wanted to make sure and get her voice heard this morning. She's not happy right now because I'm not talking to her. She believes that she is the center of the universe. All right, now into gold. Dollar's weakening slightly. It's been coming off its highs for a few days now. Inflation fears continue to kind of creep into the markets. I'm a little concerned that the import-export price is being high, a little bit higher. It's going to make U.S. made products a little bit more expensive for people to buy. So I'm a little bit concerned about that today. And I think maybe that we're starting to see that leak into the equities markets. As far as gold is concerned, good volume and open interest boost on this move to the upside, adding 6,500 on this move. Still range bound, but it's interesting because a higher volume and an open interest increase tells me there's a little bit more energy coming into this market. It was a very, very short covering rally kind of picture in the volume profile and the market profile yesterday, which would usually indicate that we would probably lose a little bit of open interest. Short covering means liquidation of contracts, but we added again 6,500. So even with the delta yesterday, there was an indication of some possible adjustment of inventory in longer time frames, perhaps to the long side. So let's take a look at this short covering profile we put in gold yesterday. The market opens, looks a little bit lower, and then drives higher, and then just ranges for the better part of the day at the top here. You can see the P shape in the volume profile here, which is again indicative of short covering. Short covering. All right. Well, short covering also has a tendency to take buying power out of the marketplace. So if we did see longer buyers in here at some point today, they may look to support price at an area where they started buying yesterday. We're seeing a pretty decent move to the downside here this morning. So, I'm going to be looking for, because going back to the daily chart here, we're still in a range-bound kind of activity area here. So as we get closer to the bottom of the extremes of the candle bodies here, that's an area where we might see momentum to the downside fall off. I'm kind of interested to see what's going on, that we've had this pretty decent move to the downside here. Initially, I think the opening range was, no, it wasn't neither the high nor the low, and we had a little bit of overnight inventory to the short side. As soon as that overnight inventory got back to settlement, looks like sellers came back in here. So I'm going to be taking another look at gold this morning to see what's going on with this move to the downside. I was going to be suggesting trying to stay patient while the market was in value. That is now out the window. Now to the euro. Okay, we had a break in downside structure here. This move to above weekly kickoff high is kind of a first step of moving from a kind of a medium time frame downside momentum to a range bound, or perhaps to a new upside momentum or an upside move. The move up above this weekly kickoff level, yeah, it's called Bitcoin. There you go. Yeah. All right, so this breakout above weekly kickoff high yesterday on higher volume and good open interest, 5,200 estimated additional contracts created in this move to the upside yesterday, is indicating that the auction is still healthy to the upside off the lows here, and now we may be entering into a different market state. The swing highs up here, right around 120.14, are certainly good targets visually for this move to the upside. If I'm holding longs, I'm probably going to lighten up there because it looks like it's going to be a little bit of resistance for a continuation. We do have the ECB President Lagarde to speak at 9 a.m. Central Time, so just about 40 minutes from now. Who knows how that's going to go? Take a look at the 30-minute chart. Settlement is down here, 119.61.5 ticks. We may be holding some overnight longs. We do have a gap to the upside. Again, we're holding above this weekly kickoff level. This was another short covering rally, short covering profile, which instead of losing open interest, we gained open interest. So that again says, maybe there's some longer term buyers that have adjusted inventory now at this weekly kickoff level. Excuse me. So we are currently just kind of in range on a kind of a narrow overnight range. If we can't close this gap, I'm going to be looking for opportunities to buy this market on weaknesses. Our overnight low settlement and value high from yesterday, kind of a target rich environment, wouldn't you say? If I get an opportunity for an execution there, it's certainly something that I would take into consideration as we have much confluence there. So gap rules again. We can't close the gap. We're looking for opportunities to buy weakness. And the 10-year, still range bound, in short time frame control, but pretty good volume and open interest yesterday on this push near the high of this area of balance. Unable to accept there yet, but as rates continue to slide off recent highs, there's a greater probability of doing just that. We added 43,000 in open interest. It's a very thick market. That sounds like a lot of open interest in many of these other markets, but for the 10-year, not so much, but still an increase on higher volume and an up move means money possibly coming into the upside, and those longer time frame traders may protect. So the 30-minute chart here, no gap, opening above value, but inside the range from yesterday. This value area high here was supportive overnight. It looks like it's been supportive so far today. It's one of the levels that I've got written down here as an area that I would be interested in seeing an execution at. If we can't accept inside of value from yesterday, I see this market moving higher. If we accept inside of value from yesterday, I understand that's a very subjective term, acceptance. It's going to be in time and in volume below below the value high from yesterday, to where we may see the market kind of rotate back down towards value low from yesterday. So the overnight low and the current regular trading hour session low, vital to either a reversal and a move to the upside, or acceptance in value and a move to lower levels. All right. So, again, I always love Wednesdays because I get to do the group coaching, and especially Wednesdays when we do have the good Dr. Menaker with us. Please, there are seats available. Join us, check it out. It'll probably be about a week before we put the market therapy on the YouTube channel. And if you want your questions asked of the good doctor, make sure you attend, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. See you at group coaching as well. We've got about 6 minutes before the equity open. I think that gives us enough time to take our breath. I hope that you join me. Humble, grateful, and creative today. Wednesday, we're about to tee off on the 10th hole about noon today. So lots of week left. Be patient. Being a trader doesn't mean always being in the market. Look for your good opportunities. Trade what you see. Always think context and risk management. Get out there and profit. Trade well today. Looking forward to seeing everybody at group coaching and with Dr. Menaker today at 3:15. And back here tomorrow morning with the market forecast. So again, thanks for joining me, and we will see you soon. Trade well.